what, Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday the 18th. Just gonna do a little bit of team fight tactics here. I thought about talking about some Valheim stuff, but maybe I'll do that in a different stream or a different video. I just haven't really gotten back into it. I kind of not necessarily burnt out, but I'm just waiting for the last expansion for Valheim to get back into it. So, but they made some announcements for like the new biome and different stuff like that. So, wanted to maybe talk about it, maybe what to expect and different stuff like that. But I think I'll do that in a different video. So we'll play some TFT and then we'll do some game dev stuff. I'll switch over. Especially if we're losing. Okay, maybe we go Exotech. Last night was the first time I did Cypher's Divine Corp build, and man, that worked out really well with what I had. I think we're going Exotech here. It seems that way. If we get an Alistar and a Graze, maybe we'll go Golden Ox. I'm not really sure yet. Hopefully my sound is better. I think I boosted it up a bit. Executioner current. Okay, upward mobility. Okay, interesting. I've never seen that one before. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Not looking too good for yeah, not looking too good for Golden Ox. Oh, he kind of had the same start I did with Morgana and Jarvan. Oh, he's got a, what is this, a Vanguard emblem? Is that what that is? Oh, he's gonna kill me. That level 2 Alistar. Or tier 2, I mean. Whew.
I know the way.
New unit hit the bench.
It's alright, we'll just kind of hold back here. Nope.
Put a dent in him.
Making very good picks though, starting out. Divine Corp. He's got a little bit of everything. He's got Exotech Golden Ox. But those are both Vanguards up at the front, so that matches. I think Kindred's a Rapid Fire Nitro. I think she's also a Marksman as well too. So I guess some synergy there. Ooh.
Put a dent in 'em. Ooh, nice. A fresh face out there. Home team.
Yeah, but we're just not going. It hasn't progressed enough in order to do so. I think we could try for these. I don't think that's unrealistic. Jeez. Getting decent amount of Syndicate stuff though too. Maybe I should have gone Syndicate. Executioner again.
Our home team is on the back foot.
Oh,
But just
gee.
count them out.
Excuse me. First round pick. We got a Barris. I think I need the Barris.
Well, hello there, handsome.
Secrets are coins better saved.
Position
Or-
shift. Big plans at work here.
I just didn't like the way that was going. Unfortunately. I just don't like the random emblems if I'm banking on, because I either have to one, be banking on the right emblem, or two, be every round. Ooh. I either need to begin Pandora's items to where I can get an emblem eventually, or I need to hope for, which there's a lot of chance if I'm just hoping for the right emblem right off the bat. And that's a lot to kind of trust with something like that. So Marksman, Executioner. Now I get more Exotech items. Gosh, so annoying.
Secrets are coins better
This is
saved.
part of a new
Well, hello there, handsome.
What am I missing? Zed. Okay.
home team
I'm getting a lot of exotext. Jeez. I guess it was just a matter of I don't know. Okay. Per kill. Okay. He's going nitro. Nitro what? Nitro AM? Nitro. Nitro something. Just not good. Ugh. Not really good,
Trade is active. We'll see that
I'll
coming.
just upgrade my Divine Corp then.
You cannot hide from me.
Golden Ox? Nah. We'll hold there. Starting grades all the way in the back. Come on, you couldn't even kill Mordekaiser there? Jeez. Here's the weakest one there.
Put a dent in them.
Oh, it's just not good augments though this time. Not good augments, not good items. Not the worst items, I guess. But my 7 loss streak is not doing justice for me. Oh, am I gonna break that streak? I am.
From the shadows, the whole team strikes.
I spoke too soon. In the frying pan because I got a frying pan right now. Didn't really care. Well, I do care about the items and stuff, but this is more important. Doo. Boom, 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 boom. Nice. See? Good stuff. Oh, but I don't have anyone to put out.
Let's admire me for a bit.
Hold on,
That's a
let's
bold
change that.
choice.
Oh, I did. Why did I sell the buy? I shouldn't have done that. I had Gracchus, but I forgot I took him off. Need to put the Grackles back out. Jeez. Just not helpful at all. Can't even get Draven to tier 2. What's this guy got? Oh no, he's got a brand in the back. Uh-oh. Ouch, he hurts. Ouch. Yeah, that was rough. There we go.
Want some gravy?
Is this part of a new strategy?
I need a needlessly large rod. And 2 tiers would be great.
Whole team wraps up a win.
Secrets are coins better
Whole
Right,
saved.
team
right.
padding the roster.
Get closer to 7, I guess. Did not get what we were looking for there, unfortunately. Is this Bastion? Vanguard? Bruiser. Yes. So weak. This one's pretty decent. Um, sure. I need something to hold my front line because it's just not doing anything.
Which way's the
What could this combo mean?
I don't know, get something going on. I'm not getting a lot of good picks. Fish bones for forgers. Gosh, it's terrible.
Well, hello there, handsome.
New unit hitting the bench.
Maybe we can make it to 8. Don't know. just gonna do this as well too. Like, because otherwise I'm gonna die. If I die, I might as well go out knowing that I used all my items. Hey, I want another one. Ooh. I don't know if this will change much, but at least LeBlanc had it. So. LeBlanc. Okay. So maybe that'll help now. I don't know. We shall see. Street demons? Okay. Oh no, everyone's came to 8. I'm not even close to 8 yet. Alright.
Team takes damage, but does not yield.
Couldn't even fight him when he wasn't there. Yeah.
Cannot hide from me.
Secrets are coins better saved than spent.
You cannot hide from me. Massive play from the
Got a
whole
tier 3
team.
LeBlanc. Can't say I've ever had that before. I played this comp last night, and I destroyed with it, but I had a tier 3 Draven. I wish I would have recorded it. Or been streaming, but seems like I can get a lot of the picks and stuff if I'm not streaming. Just seems to be how it goes sometimes. Gosh, that Draven is not doing enough damage. GG. Alright, well, that didn't work out. We'll try again. We'll do one more. Yeah, we'll switch over to game dev stuff afterwards, and then we'll go from there. Taking a while to load here. What's going on? Did the server I'm connecting to die? It's just paused at 18%. What's up? Oh, there it is. That's kind of weird.
I woke up early for this.
First augments to prismatic this game. Huh? Keep getting a lot of Aurora as augment.
Welcome to another exciting match.
Ew.
You paid for the whole thing?
Italy.
Ah, you'll only need the edge.
I just, I've seen it happen a couple times where nitros are good with certain comps this round, but you really have to have the right augments and stuff like that. I just not a fan of nitro though. Like it's very situational. Sure, maybe we'll try it if it's gonna take me that direction. I don't know. Could go Exotex. I don't think I'm gonna go Boombot. If I can get a Nitro. Nope. Like I really needed a Kindred right now to put out there. Otherwise, it's pretty worthless. If I can't get it by the start of the first player combat round, it's pretty worthless to... Because the bot that builds as part of Nitro, like, it takes a lot of time to build up its strength. And ideally, you want that to be strengthened before teams start to get really big and strong. Like, so... Exotech emblem, ah, fuck. Jeez, these are all pretty good. I don't know which one to choose. Which one did I choose? Oh, spoil? Okay.
A fresh face out there.
Kindred, huh? Alright. Because Nidalee is not a bad frontline champion either. So maybe we'll try and do like Nitro Divine Corp, maybe. Nitro Cypher, Nitro... I don't know. Hey.
Whole team racks up a win.
It could work. I'm not saying it will work, I'm saying it could
Whole
work.
team starting up a unit. Let's get cracking. Put a dent in 'em.
Jeez, and I still can get a... Oh, Tapcaster. Oops. Syndicate, huh? Syndicate Bruisers, Syndicate Street Demons. It's alright.
Is this part of a new strategy?
Still very early. Get a Cypher out there, I guess. Vanguard, right? Is why? Yeah. So that doesn't really synergize very well for... Got Bastions and Vanguards, but no synergies. I hate that Nidalee's an amp too. Like, oh, we've got a Golem already. Ouchie. Oh, he's going Ciphers. Rip. Do-do-do. Do-do. Okay, Nitro again.
The quiet before battle.
Finally, geez. Cyber Boss. Divine Core. Oh dang, he's going Divine Core Vanguard. So am I missing? Oh, I'm missing the lease for the 4th Nitro. That Grokka's just so good.
Whole team padding the roster.
See, it's always just a pain as well too to get this, for me to get this, this 4th Nitro as well too. Come on. Hey! Okay. If I get 2 sparring gloves, that would be cool. A frying pan. Not the greatest, but sure. Oh, jeez. A glove. Hey.
This trait might really shake things up.
Sorry, Gracchus. Hey, there
I know
we
what
go.
lurks in the shadow.
That's a bold choice.
Finally got an Elise though. Oh man.
Let's get cracking.
Let's admire me for a bit.
Oh dang. What was different stuff give me? Slayer, Bastion, Bruiser. Not really helpful or anything. Okay. Oh no. Oh, maybe I should have gotten Gracchus. Okay.
What are we fighting? Well, hello there, handsome.
Ooh, nice. A fresh face out there.
Ciphers and Nitros, that's what we're buying. Is he a cast? Yeah. Okay. Doing okay right now then. Alright, alright, alright.
Great action! They won't see that coming.
Nice. Alright, what do we got here?
I must become the whole world's villain. Then so be it.
Ooh, that one's good. Oof. Oof. That one's a
What
tough
could
sell.
this combo mean?
Which way's the
Good. Really needed him to tier 2. Dynamo, huh? Marksman, rapid fire. Ooh. Aye. Just save.
You cannot hide from me.
Okay.
Whole team patting the rock.
Oh yeah, we need to get the Elise out there. So let's get to 8. Forgot we didn't get Elise out there. So oof. Ouch. That
The whole team graciously gives up the win.
shake him.
Let's admire me for a bit.
There is nothing between.
Keep an eye on that one, folks.
Oh my gosh, 2 golems? Oh, because he's got a Viego, yeah. Jeez, just getting obliterated now.
Positions are shifting. Big plans at work here. That's a win for the home team. We'll have to see how this trait plays out. It's about to
Jeez.
Secrets are coins better
That's a
saved.
bold choice.
Oh, I'd like that Kabuko. That'd be pretty nice.
Let's admire me for a bit.
Hey!
And the home team
Can't believe I
bounces
beat
back.
that. Alright. All these fiddlesticks. I get so much fiddlesticks.
Which way's the fire?
Who wants some gravy?
What could this combo mean?
It's crazy the amount of fiddlesticks that I get. So focused on that stupid golem.
From the pages of history and on to the bench.
Let's admire me for a bit.
Nice.
We have entered the halls of legend. New unit hit the bench.
Oh. Oh, I died. Rip. I thought I was doing okay. I had a tactician shield and everything. Plus, I just got a chest. What's in the chest? I didn't even get to see what was in my chest. Oh, man. Alright. It was okay. We made it in the top 4. Yeah, I just the nitro just doesn't excel quick enough to the T-Rex. So and then by the time people get like level when you get the T-Rex, like, cause I had that nitro at the first start of the first player round, right there, in the first stage. In the first encounter for the first player after the PvE stuff, and it still wasn't at a T-Rex. And people were getting to level 8, like, it just doesn't I don't know.
A lot to consider out on the field today.
Mundo, huh? Street demons and slayers, bruisers. We'll just see where this takes us. My cat's looking at my dog. Sleeping. Kitty, what are you doing?
That's a win for the home team.
The city's future is riding on Animus
Man,
Black
a couple
shoulders.
different directions I could go with this. I don't really like doing Poppy anymore starting out, even if I can get Poppy to tier 3, because Poppy becomes bad late game. Typically. I know there's an augment for Poppy, but I've never gotten that augment though either.
The power of Animatex.
You want me to go anime squad this time? Like,
Starting up a unit.
what?
You in good hands.
New unit hit the bench.
Not really sure which direction I should go. 'Cause I have a tier 2 Seraphim.
Superior strategy brings home that win.
Braum. Okay. Ooh, Bramblefest is great. This is actually pretty decent.
The
Two
quiet before
techies.
battle.
Ugh, man.
There's movement on the board.
I feel like I need to go this way.
Let's get cracking.
Ooh, maybe I should have kept the Braum and gone Syndicate. Syndicate is usually, I feel, decent for mid game, but you really need other things to help drive Syndicate, I feel, late game. Techie, Anime Squad, Vanguard, nah.
Never stop.
Let's see where that takes us.
Team rocks.
Cat trying to bite.
Ooh, nice. A fresh face out there.
Oh, I won that one. Yeah. See, there's an Elise. When I'm not going Nitro, I always get get the champions I don't want. Seems like. Because now I'm getting a lot of golden masters too. Well, not a lot, but a decent amount. Hang in there, Shyvana. There you go. Ooh, some good picks here. You jerk. Kind of wanted the Galio. Bum, bum, bum.
Such a busy world.
Speaking of Galio,
The quiet before battle.
okay, interesting. Hey.
I must become the whole world's villain. Then so be it.
I have a Vigar ready. He's tier 2, but he's not even on the field.
Secrets are coins better saved than spent.
Okay.
I must become the whole world's villain. Then so be it. Put a dent in her. If I must become the whole world's villain, then so be it.
So many street demons. Jeez.
Let's admire me for a bit.
Anime squad, huh? You gotta do Pandora's items. It's just so good.
Rust now. It's all rust now.
Repositioning some units. The tension is palpable. The home team graciously gives up the win.
Graciously, what? Gosh, can't get any picks at all. Hey.
I must become the whole world's villain. Then so be it.
Home team padding the roster. Light becomes hope.
Oh no, he took the Golem. Golem and Exotech? Okay. Ouchie.
Light becomes hope. That trait's gonna ruin someone's day.
Okay, let's get to 7, I think. Yeah, nothing at tier 2 though, except for Senna and LeBlanc. So that's not great. Did okay there, I guess.
Brings home that win.
Tier 3 Ross, huh? Alright. Hopefully we can get a BF blade. And we need a recurve bow and a needlessly large rod. So I can level up my Draven. And Galio. There's a recurve bow.
I'm sorry, I just won't.
And there's... Okay, I got all of them. Woo! Ask and you shall receive. Alright. We need to... Oh, that's right. I have Pandora's items. What am I talking about here? I totally forgot I had Pandora's items. I was like, wait, why did they change? Okay. Well, I don't feel so bad now. So. I was like, no, that's not good. But it'll be fine because hopefully we'll get the blade and then we can get the rod later. That's not so bad. I totally forgot I had Pandora's items. Okay, nope. That one's not bad. Kind of want to do that one now. Ooh, interesting. Never tried this one before. Let's try it. Nice. Oh, I didn't level up. Thanks. So I'm not going fast enough though. Ouchie. Benjaro. I fought Benjaro before, I think.
Well, hello, handsome.
We'll have to see how this trait plays out.
Nope. Alright. I was hoping I'd get a Galio there. Or a Gracchus. That guy's still on 5? Is this the AFK guy? It's like he got to tier 3 and then he pieced out.
That's a win for the home team.
Okay. Two. Three Divine Corpse, 2 Vanguards, 4 Ciphers. Need a Zed for the 5th Cipher, I think. Blade, yeah, I think this is what I need. It is.
Want some gravy?
Is this part of a new strategy?
Let's just get to 8, I think. Attack Caster, right? Yeah. Attack Caster. Slayer will be good when I get my Zed out there. So. Le do. What has he got? Ciphers and Exotechs? Ciphers Strategists? Is that what it is? Looks like it. Oh, come on, Ross. No. That Galio.
Let's admire me for a bit.
Jeez, just can't get this Galio to tier 2. Or Gracchus. Should I keep the Zac? I think. Kinda wanna get a nah, I need like a Renekton Kabuko type of thing. Dang, that Mordekaiser.
Like it hurts.
Thieves' gloves. Sure. I guess I might as well. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be alive.
Let's admire me.
Let's admire me. Rip. Wow. Alright. That Renekton. Oof.
Secrets are coins better saved than spent.
Ah, so many Renektons out there. Probably got one more fight left in me before I die. Heart. There he is. Jeez. Come on, Draven, buddy. Oh. Oh my gosh, I did it.
And the whole team bounces back.
goodness. Oh my goodness. I did it!
We have entered the halls of legend.
Whew. Just barely, but we did it. Oh no, this is the other one with the Renekton. And he's got a Kabuko? Oh. Oh no, Renekton versus Renekton. He's got a tier 2 though. No! I made it to the top. Oh, sorry, I didn't even switch over that last that last round. I was unchatting the whole time. All right, we're gonna switch over though to game dev stuff though. So let me switch my stream. We'll get this set up here. Really? The filtering on that is stupid. Doesn't really work that well. Okay, update. Cool. Wait, what? Why is my description not updating? All right, away with you. Okay, let me do my live scene here. I'm just gonna close out of this riot stuff because there's too many pop-ups, too much updating after I've exited the game. All right, let me see here. Need to Need to get back into this mindset here and share my screen. Yeah, hopefully you can see that. Okay, I'm on the game design doc essentially. So, okay, so I think we established some of the principles here. AI agents, yeah. So here, since we're trying to make a smaller type game, I think, we said before that there's going to be 3 principles. We could cut that down even lower if we wanted to simplify the game. But also this needs to be a type of, not just for this game, but I think every game as well too, like, you don't want to come out with a generic game that's been done before, right? You want to come out with something like, and not to say that everything has to innovate, but it should be something different for players of where they want to spend. If it's a premium game, where they would want to spend $60. If you're being Ubisoft or Nintendo, or what Rockstar might do with Grand Theft Auto 6, which would be like $80, $90, $100 games for premium. Or some indies and stuff are doing like $30, $40 games. So, like, if it's going to be like that, it's got to be something enticing enough for the player to where they would want to spend their money to do that. So, maybe. Then I will follow you right in my chat saying followed. Let's see. I usually only follow people if I like their content. I don't just do follows for follow's sake type of thing. Sometimes I do. We'll see. Something I haven't considered yet, but it's a possibility. So I think in order to scale down this game, we need to decide what's going to be the most important here for this game. I think what's kind of non-negotiable for me is I really wanted to create some sort of wrapper around the gameplay to where, whether you're controlling your units or not, but something that's PvE, where you could easily kind of jump in and jump out and play with your friends, but also, or you could do it solo if you wanted to, and there'd be avenues there that keep it enticing long term, like replayability. So I'm just gonna go back to my my sheet here that we have. Gonna make this a bit bigger because it's a bit small on stream here, it looks like. Yeah, hopefully that's a bit better where you can see it. Wish they had a 175. 200 is a little too big. Can I do 175 here? I can. That's pretty good, I think. Okay, so and then like keep in as well too that it's kind of based in the Battlefield, loosely the Battlefield universe now, but the Battlefield universe is already just kind of loose. It's got its, I think what distinguishes Battlefield the most, of course, is the type of gunplay, the squad play, and the UI is very distinct for Battlefield as well too. Like when you kill someone, when you headshot someone, the UI for the squad and like, and your squad is green and people on your team are blue and the enemy is red, like by default, like Halo has the same kind of user interface distinction as well too, whether that's UI in the game or on the menus and stuff, like outlines and how those outlines interact with different interactables, essentially, like the overshield and stuff like that. Like it has a very distinct style to it, to where you know it's Halo. Battlefield is kind of the same way, whereas other generic shooters like Call of Duty or whatever have their own distinct things about them, but it could be a Call of Duty, it could be a different type of shooter as well too. Sometimes you just never know. So loosely we're kind of doing it on that way. So here, I think if we're sticking to the core of the Battlefield mantra here, and we're taking it in the context here of our game design doc of what we're aiming for, which is no, dude, go away. I saw it once. Oh, I see. It's a different person. Oh, I see. So there's people promoting this guy. Is this a bot that's happening in the chat? Alright, whatever. Not gonna pay attention to it anymore. If you're just gonna spam my chat for follow backs and stuff, then what is our world coming to? Okay, let's see here. If we're sticking to the Battlefield mantra here, then we could probably deprioritize this, because cover system is more for like Company of Heroes type of thing. If we're doing the automated system, I would like that as like a should have. So I think in terms of is it on my other one here? I'm gonna split these out just so I can alt tab, because I hate having to switch tabs because there's no easy cheat list for this. So if we're taking the MVP list here, I like to do this in Moscow format. So here, must have. For the sake of the thing, I'll put for, just so you know what I'm talking about. But like everyone knows, like it's a format, it's an exercise to go through. So must have. So a must for us here, what we're saying is, and then so M is the must. You'll see why these are capitalized and not capitalized in a bit here. So must have is the M. S is the should have. Should have. C is could have. And W is, so this is different depending on your studio, what they're used to, context, framing and stuff. Some people do would have for this, like we would have this if blank. I like the framing better of won't have for this. So we must have, we should have, we could have, we won't have. Because would have, would and could, like some people blur those distinctions here. This is a clear distinction of we won't have. But for some people on teams and stuff, it's less important to define this. Now, I talked before in one of my previous streams about designing a game, making features, implementing it so that you're designing it and implementing it for what you want the player to do, but you're also implementing it and designing the things around that, the safeguards, the whatever and stuff, for the things you don't want them to do either. So I think that's where won't have will come into place. It very clearly defines to leadership, to stakeholders, to investors, and even to the team as well too, of like, especially if you're not just doing this at a project level, because you can do Moscow formats here for like feature level and sub feature level as well too. So if I were to say, hey, for the cover system, or even for like the customization, we won't have tank modules that we're going to do. That's just not a part of the customization features we're doing. We won't have, and so it's very clearly defined there of like, oh, okay, to frame people about what features we're doing and what's clearly off limits, and there can also be context around that too in the feature design as well too, or even the or in the game design doc as well too. So I like the won't have because it's a clear distinction of what it will be and what it will not be. So hey, I'm gonna block you, Wallace, if you just don't shut up. I don't put up with that. Gotta figure out how to do that though. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so we said and should have here that should have would be the cover system, right? Like that's one thing that we talked about here that we said we should have, but it's not a must. So for the core pillars, we're gonna say that that's out. Let me see. Multiple people can join your game and help you attack the objective. So if we're going back to Battlefield and what Battlefield is, we're talking about squad play. If we're doing this at like a company of heroes or you control multiple units and stuff, then this would be part of kind of that core pillar to Battlefield. If we weren't doing a Battlefield game, I'd say maybe this could be a should have or a would have, depending on what we're trying to frame the core pillars around. Essentially, like if our core pillars are like, hey, you attack this, you level up yourself, and that's like the basis of what it is, then maybe it doesn't make a difference on whether they're squad play or not. But I think here I want to emphasize team play versus environment objectives, which have consequences for you. And with that, if you need help sometimes, then you should be able to have players there. And I think that should be kind of, maybe not a core pillar, but it should just be part of the energetic part here. So maybe we could put that here in terms of a aspect of let me see. What were we talking about? Squad play? Is that what it was? because we could make these single player experiments if we really wanted to. Yeah, we could do that if we wanted to. And it might simplify it because then we wouldn't have to do netcode and all that stuff. So we could do that. It wouldn't make a big deal. But we'll figure that out. So all right. Getting a lot of spam in the chat. Let's see. Session-based gameplay with objectives in a persistent server, kind of like Helldivers. Are those servers persistent? Those aren't persistent servers, are they? It's session-based, but that one session you're in, if you fail, does it permeate throughout the... Because there's a difference between persistent servers like MMOs, right? Like those are persistent universes where those still live on even if you log off. Like there's other people in those servers where things change, or if live updates are released and stuff, you can change the weather, you can change whatever and stuff, and that will change the next time you log in to whatever it's set on the server. That's a persistent server universe. I don't think it does that in Helldivers. I think there's an aspect of persistency there because you're seeing updates to everyone's progress across like objectives that they're taking down to satisfy larger objectives for the entire, which I like that aspect there of like, it's not just a, hey, I'm fighting with the squad to take down objectives to move the larger objectives for us as the game players across this universe, this world, these multiple worlds, to complete those objectives so that we get free gear and stuff. Like, I like that larger objective type of thing. And I think that's really cool to have. So I think what I'm trying to get at here, so must have need to be and units. Okay. I don't know about this yet. So objectives will be PvE. Starting objectives be focused on destroying future I wouldn't say futuristic, but this is experimental. So like what I'm thinking about here is if you remember a mission in Halo Wars as well too, in the first Halo Wars, there was a mission that was super fun where you had to do some base building and you had to attack a scarab that was either being repaired or it was finished being built. So like the head could move, but the rest of the body couldn't move until like the end of the fighting and stuff, and then it was like able to move at the end when you were about to kill it. But like it was under construction for the last bit of it. But like you had to like take cover behind like environment and get out of the way of its laser and stuff when it would shoot, and it had like all these ads and different stuff as well too, that you had to kind of combat and be thoughtful about. And that's kind of what I want here as well too, where it's like maybe it's not always that, but like it's kind of taken from that inspiration there. So like this would be like the Gustav, the E100, the mouse tank. What did they have for guns that they were doing? This could be the Messerschmitt 262. Could you imagine if they had jets in World War II that they were making? They were almost completed with them. Or I think they completed prototypes. What else here? I think they had some like some guns as well too, like some small arms fire or something like that. I think they were probably experimenting with I guess the V2s were becoming more and more common. So like maybe it would be like trying to take down a V2 launch site or something like that, or attack it, or probably not sabotage if we're doing like open war. V2, what are we thinking here? So like it's examples like that, and I'm sure there's lots more, and I think some of this, if we keep going along and stuff and it becomes successful, like some of it would probably become more and more fiction or something like that. But there's kind of lots of things that we could do with this. So let's see here. I'm actually gonna move this over to the game design doc because it's kind of a little messy here, more than I would like, actually. Oh no. Okay, let's put this in here. And this will be in a 2 heading. We'll do normal text. This is just, it was getting a little crazy for me to be able to follow. So this would be like unit veterancy. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, and then we have the should have, and we'll put this up there as well too. So we said that this was should have. Get you down here. Cover system. So you can see how like unit veterancy, like they could have better cover if they have better veterancy. Like that could be an aspect there of being able to not just say, hey, they have veterancy and showing that in the game, but there's also a gameplay implication to that as well too. And then if you have more things that like tie to the cover system based on the must-haves, then maybe it pulls the cover system up to being more of a must-have at that point. And you can kind of like, it may take a priority after all the other must-haves, but then it becomes a higher priority that's next in the should-haves list. So it's like, okay, based upon on this and stuff, then we're saying that it becomes like a highest priority if these bullet points are in order. Then we're saying, okay, after all of these are done, we really want the cover system because it ties into a lot of things in the must-haves, but the cover system is not actually needed for an MVP type of thing. So, and I'll put this in here in case those people don't know what MVP stands for, is minimum viable product. Okay. All right, so those are the things that we're saying are like, okay, I want there to be objectives that players will play. These decisions will, from the previous battle, will affect their next battle, but people can also customize it. So here as well too, I'm thinking if people cannot share this or show this in squads, this becomes less of a must-have and more of a should-have. Basically, I don't want to be like doing customization stuff. Sure, it's a way to monetize players and stuff, but what do players want to do when they buy stuff? They want to show it off, right? Like, I want you to see how awesome my soldier is, my units, the things that I either bought or earned in game, where I've customized my it's bragging rights, right? And people like to do that. And not just that, like other people who are seeing you or playing with you or whatever, they'll be like, oh, that's so cool and stuff. Where can I buy that? Or where can I get that and stuff? So that's going to be super important when we get into the monetization stuff later. But what I'm saying right now is I'm not wanting to do customization until we have squad play because I think it's less of an impact. It becomes not just a must-have, it becomes more of a should-have for me. And even this is more of like a this is a could-have in terms of the framing for like an MVP. This is more like a could-have even. 2, right? Yeah. And then this would be heading 2. So in the framing of an MVP here, I'm saying that this is a could have because the squad play would be the first thing we'd want to implement. And if we have squad play, then the customization becomes more impactful. So now we may say that, hey, we need a way to monetize this and stuff, and then that shifts priorities. But right now, that's not important to me right now. Right now, it's mostly about like, hey, is the game that we're basing it around, is it fun? Does it have replayability? Does it have an interest for players? Is it fun? Like all those things need to come first. And then I think it'll have stickiness to it that it needs, where the other things will just fall into place. If it doesn't have those things, I feel like it's just it's not worth doing all the other stuff as part of this thought process in designing. So now there's other exercises we'll go through that kind of help focus, narrow down as well too. This is just the first exercise in terms of Moscow format, understanding what we're doing and why we're doing it as well too. So those are kind of the big W's that we're not really worried about the how right now. Like we're really focused on the what are we doing and why are we doing it. So those are kind of the big things now and questions to answer when we're kind of taking all of these ideas and all this stuff in the ether and stuff and trying to distill it down into something that we think is going to be fun and digestible, and then like ultimately what you want to do is you want to prototype this as fast as possible to really prove that out or not, and then iterate on it. And if it's something that won't stick and you've done many iterations of it in a short amount of time, now you don't want to do many iterations over a few years and stuff unless you have endless money to blow, but you need to do these iterations quick and it needs to be defined. And if you can't find something that's fun or sticky or something that will work based upon the core pillars of what you're trying to design, either the pillars need to change or you just need to start from scratch again then. So and then you just go from there. You go to the next idea, you go to the next thought, and all right, you base it around that and you do your investigation and you prototype it and you see if that will work at that point. So that's just how it happens, and that's why you see some games that don't ship or they pivot a lot, or like even Anthem for us as well too. Before I got on the project, I think it went through like 4 restarts, which is why it was in like concept pre-production for almost 5.5, 6 years before I got on the project. Overwatch was the same way. I know there's lots of other titles out there that have gone through restarts they've gone through because it either is not hitting the mark or it's not hitting the pillars of what they're trying to solve, or it's just not fun and it's not either expandable or won't be a good live service or not something they can build off of, or too many conflicts within the game itself where like design choices are conflicting with each other and stuff like that. Like there's a whole bunch of different reasons why things don't work, and that's what concept is for. That's what prototyping is for, is to really kind of find the proof in that pudding. So let's see here. Okay, so in terms of must-haves here, What do we have left here? Yeah, I'm gonna delete this as well too. So we did say in our game that team play. Now I don't know if we want to do like automatic joining and stuff. So like we try and always fill servers to like, I don't know, 2, 3, or 4 players or something like that. It could be yeah, I'm just trying to think here. Because if we're saying that that is core to our game at that point, or if it's something where people can match together or invite their friends, or is it more like a server list and I join something that's like, I don't know, like a company of heroes or something like that, where it's like, hey, people are hosting games and they're at this point in their objectives and I can join in to help them or not or something. But then how you do like the power scaling with that type of stuff, like, and then what are you in this universe as well too? Like, are you representing one of the players type of thing in their story? Do you create that person? And that's in all the cutscenes? Is that the one that is impacted by the decisions to make it maybe a bit more of a personal narrative? Or do we go back and say that, hey, you are essentially like the dungeon master, or the dungeon master, or the commander of this, and you're kind of just overseeing this from like outside of the game, off the table type of thing? Like, are you essentially the battalion command or whatever it may be, or general even, that's just kind of like overseeing this? And then based upon that, you are the general that then has more or less things at your disposal based upon the success and failure of your missions. So yeah, that could be, I don't think it's really important to this right now in terms of framework, unless that was going to be a core part of the gameplay. Then I might try and define that now, but I don't think we need to do that at this point. So oh, here we're kind of doing this right now as part of it. So okay, so I think the other thing here as well too is AI agents, AI what do we want to say here? AI. I don't know if agents is the right word. I don't think it is. But this would be something like kind of like the Nemesis system from like Shadow of Mordor. Nemesis. Am I spelling that right? Here the big thing with AI, right, is like usually what it has in games is it has templates, and then based on what you do, like it reacts to those with the best scenario based on not necessarily what it thinks you're doing, but the outcomes that are kind of predetermined. And which is okay, but I don't know if I want this to be a selling point or not though, but the idea here, because I feel like this is just a big thing in itself, or it could become like over bloated, over scoped. Might be biting off more than we can chew, but if we could do it, then it would be pretty cool. But the idea here would be like where AI starts like ingesting all the data, the moves you do, the time you do those moves, ingesting all that data to then critically think and proactively plan of what it thinks you're going to do next based upon the moves that you're making. Or not that you're making, but the ones that you've done in the past. So if you're typically a defensive player and you like to like protect your angles and have things in place, like maybe it knows to sabotage those movements and stuff to slow you down, or I don't know. There could be different aspects there of what it has at its disposal in order to kind of know how you think and based upon your previous moves. Or maybe we have like a commander profile and it tries to determine what you're going to do based on that. I don't know. But then if players knew that and stuff, they might lie in there just to throw off the AI. I don't know how you would do that. So that seems not foolproof. So maybe I'm getting a bit too in the weeds here, but that's the ultimate goal of kind of what I want, is for it to be able to kind of counter your tactics in a way that feels like it's alive type of thing. Or maybe alive is the wrong word. But there's actually something challenging about it as well too, because if you're very aggressive as well too, like maybe it's gonna also be equally aggressive type of thing. But if you're a very unpredictable person and stuff, then maybe you can use that to your advantage as well too, because then the AI does not know what you're gonna do, and it leaves it more up to chance at that point. You don't know what the AI is gonna do, and the AI doesn't know what you're gonna do at that point. So yeah, it becomes kind of a dice roll, kind of like Command Decision, if anyone's ever played that for tabletop, or Battlegrounds. You kind of leave all of the guessing, the outcomes, up to the dice rolls. It's up to chance at that point, which I know can sometimes feel shitty. Like I see that in Teamfight Tactics all the time and stuff. Like I don't get the rolls I want or the augments. I just leave it up to chance, and it's RNG, randomly generated stuff. So stuff I can't control, which removes the player agency, but it's unbiased at that point, right? So goods and bads to both. You could provide protections around that though as well too. So I think that we're gonna put it in for now, just because I think that's gonna be a core part of yeah, that makes sense. And battles with AI that are repetitive makes the same sequences of moves because you know what is expected. That breaks me out of the game immersion. Notice this mostly in fighting games with lots of moves and counter moves. Yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's probably the biggest problem that AI has, is that it just keeps doing that same predictability, and then it becomes bland, right? It loses its creativity, right? Yeah, those are problems that we would try and solve for this. I'm just wondering here, like in the context of like pitching this to speedrun, like is that going to be necessary if I were to get funding for this? Because like they're really big on like funding AI projects right now. So like, do I need to make that a core part of my game right now, or could I get by without it? And am I alienating what I'd like to do? I feel like with PvE there needs to be at least some sort of level of AI anyway, whether it's finite state machines or and behavior trees or something like that. But even like the Nemesis system, like even if we base it on that type of thing, which is a type of AI, type of, even if it's templated, like based upon behavior, like, because here we could activate the Nemesis aspect. If I get a high veterancy squad, they'll be reacting to try and like hunt them down and take them out and and stuff to remove their veterancy, so that they're reducing the threat essentially, right? So which could provide some interesting things for the player as well too. So because I haven't even talked about side stuff that we would do in this game, like secondary objectives, or like in Valheim there's like random raids as well too on your base, or wherever you're at and stuff, that provides some element of like randomness to it, to the game, to where it's not just like I do the thing and then I come back type of thing, like going from A to B to finish type of thing. There is some randomness there to where it's like, oh, I got to make food. Oh, I have these random raids that I have to deal with. And it's like, oh, I meant to log off 5 minutes ago, but now I'm on for another 30 minutes dealing with the raid and trying to finish the objective that I wanted to do type of thing. Like, I get how sometimes that stuff can be too much, and so we would want to be able to dial that back or intensify that if we wanted to, but I haven't even talked about any of that secondary stuff. I was just waiting for my turnips to grow and bang. I set down the growing rate on all of my field items because they were taking way too long to grow. But I modified a lot of my recipes as well too with mods, so so I kind of needed that as well too. Yeah, I'll probably, I talked about this a bit at the beginning of the stream, but I'll probably do a Valheim thing maybe on Thursday. I'll do something for Valheim because they did some announcements for the last biome expansion as well too. They released like a trailer and stuff, so I'll probably talk about it on Thursday, so when I don't work. Anyway, so done in the past. Or I think like at least like an AI sys high threat, and on Halo Infinite we called this HVTs, high value targets. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitting stuff out on the page there of kind of what I'm thinking here, and then we'll come back to it here. So, session-based gameplay. We'll kind of keep this kind of on the back burner for right now. Decisions the users make and the outcomes of the previous battle. Okay, we talked about this before, but I don't think we have it down here. Oh yeah. Right here. Okay, so that's good. Multiple people can join your game. So we talked about that. That should be should have for like squad play or multiplayer. Okay, and then I think that's good. Difficulty scaling. Again, I think if we don't have squad play and stuff, I think this then becomes a could have for launch. Oops. Okay. So we kind of got this at a basic level here. I think what I want to add here is a section for, maybe we put it under game mechanics for now, but we do customization, and this will be for, this will be for soldiers, tanks. Are we gonna have airplanes come in? Airplanes, naval. Three, two. Oh, maybe this needs to be a 2 then. Okay. Because we'll need to talk about a little bit more about that. So we talked about some of the must-haves, the should-haves, the could-haves, the won't-have. But we need to do the won't-haves, actually. That's what I meant to say. So let's bring this back here. You are not a header. Okay, so what won't this game be? This will not be a... a 32 or versus 64 multiplayer game. So I only say this in the context of kind of what Battlefield is known for, right? Like, Battlefield is known for first-person shooter, so that's probably something to call out here. We're not making 32 versus 32 or 64 versus 64 because in Battlefield 2042, it was 64 versus 64, 128 player maps. And the previous Battlefields, it's been 32 versus 32 max. Sometimes it's been, depending on the game mode, it's been 16 versus 16, 32 versus 32. But 64 has typically been the max. They kind of expanded that. Hey Durgo. It's been more than that with 2042, but in Battlefield 6 they have said that they're going to go back down to 64 because 128 was just a bit too much. And it was. It was great to see like a lot of the interaction and big battles and stuff like that, but it was kind of just too much, and it was too much for the average player, right? So that's why I want to call it out here. Is we're not making a game like that in the Battlefield universe. So this is not an FPS. So maybe we should define what this is here and the must-haves then. We talked a little bit before about maybe would this be a like an action RTS? Would it be a isometric? Would it be like what would kind of like the gameplay look like? And I think if we're doing something like, if we are in the perspective of the commander of the field or the general or whatever, like we would be, because before I was kind of throwing the idea around of like Brothers in Arms, if you've played that, more of a squad based shooter. Was that third person or was it first person? I thought it was third person, but I could be wrong. But basically, there is be like you are one of the guys in the squad, and you can clearly see that you are in the perspective of this guy giving orders and commands to people on the battlefield right there. Like you're telling your squad mates to go here, you're telling them to hold, you're telling them to cover fire type of thing. And I feel like that's not in enough tactical games. Like I think maybe Rainbow Six has that as well too, potentially. But yeah, I think maybe we shifted the focus here to where this is kind of more like a smaller version of Company of Heroes, kind of like a World in Conflict type of thing, not necessarily a base builder either. Or maybe this is going to be more of a base builder, but it's automated, I think is what I was saying, to where kind of like Guns Up we were talking about before, right? Where was that here? We were talking about brainstorming. Yeah, so isometric, top-down, automated simulation, or a small amount of unit control. So it's like kind of like Guns Up and World in Conflict. So World in Conflict is not a base builder, but Guns Up is. Guns Up is like an attack defense type of thing, which is kind of what we're doing. We're kind of attacking here. An objective. So oh, and I kind of just thought of the format as well too, which is kind of cool. If I gain all these objectives on the battlefield, I don't know if that kind of reduces the replayability. I'll have to think about the replayability aspect here. But I want that as a core pillar as well too. So high replayability. Okay. Could have still need to determine this. Expansions. I don't know where this goes yet, like, because I don't know what that's going to be yet. We still haven't talked about monetization stuff, so and it's not really a priority for me. Nemesis. Okay. So if we're taking this framework here, I think right now we're probably going to nix mobile for right now, but I think it's something that could expand into that. I would want that to be its own kind of user experience though. So we would make like an interface and something that works specifically for mobile, but it would be based on this game style though. And then I think we said it'd be a live service. Sure. Do we want to do that? Question mark. I'm torn between this because we could just do something here that's like PvE, but it's like small, short, and sweet. People play it. It's a premium game. There's a clear start and finish. And like it's more of a narrative driven thing where people can pick and choose the outcomes that they want, but then replayability becomes less of a thing. So maybe it needs to be because of that. So otherwise, like, why are we trying to create this as a core pillar for high replayability if it's not a live service game? So just things to think about, because then those things start to kind of conflict. It's like, why am I trying to have high replayability if players are probably going to only play through this once? Unless if they play it through multiple times and the outcomes are going to be different every single time. And if we were to release expansions, those outcomes would then impact that expansion type of thing. That could be a thing, but then we're creating maybe complexity for no reason, right? Potentially, I don't know. But just things to throw out there. So I think going back to the won't haves here, I think this would probably then be if we're doing more of the automated route, if we're doing the like squad control thing, or like I think what we do is, in terms of the guns up thing, is like if I have this ability that I've gotten on the battlefield, then I can do this command type of thing. Otherwise, the soldiers are going to go to the highest priority thing, like they're going to wait for units. They're going to make sure they do like basic, I don't know, thought process or movement or whatever, and then like I can adjust that as the commander based upon not necessarily things that I bought, but things that I've gotten in game to either have them move faster or run or blitz this objective type of thing, or something like if there's a machine gun nest or flank or something like that. But there may be some aspects there to where the soldiers will try and do that automatically. And then that comes down to the question too, like how big are these maps going to be? How much distance are they covering, especially if we're wanting this to be like a 20-30 minute session? Or is this just more persistent to where then they can pick this up whenever they log off? And then how does that work with multiple people as well? Because then I think we're coming back to the Helldivers thing, where who is the host of this game type of thing. And if they're not online, whose ship do you move to at that point? Whose narrative then? Whose perspective are you in then at that point? So, and is everyone seeing the same global map outcome objectives there, or what? So yeah, I think there's a lot of different things that we could do here. Just trying to think. But I think the part of this is be more of a top-down automated sim. Because if we were going to do a strategy game, like, I don't think that's in the market right now. There are some strategy games coming out, but I don't know if. And then if I can't control my unit, do I have more agency, or does that take away too much as a user? Whatever, I'll think on this, but we're just going to go in a direction right now for this and make a decision that it's going to be a top-down, or like it could even be like isometric, where I can kind of zoom in and zoom out. I don't know if I want it top-down. But like kind of those strategy cameras type of thing. So and we haven't even talked about resources if this becomes automated, because there needs to be some like, okay, if I'm killing people on the battlefield, if I don't have agency with my units to like an everything extent, how do I get points, ammunition? Not just that, if the I didn't even think about this as well too, but if we're seeing about like the veterancy and stuff like that per server, and I don't have agency, that kind of feels shitty as well too, that I can't control where they go as well too, if they're just being sent in to die and I can't control that. So yeah, that kind of is meh. Maybe there's an aspect here where I can, if they become a certain veterancy, then I can control that unit indefinitely. That seems like a weird mechanic as well too, though. And then that could become overwhelming, but it could be a nice way to ease the player into like controlling units and special abilities and stuff like that, where they don't get that right off the bat. Because if they're going in and dying right away, how are you going to... Because there should probably be an abundance that you start out with in terms of like, hey, take cover or retreat, or like danger here, don't go there type of thing, to where you don't run out of those like in a battle and stuff, to where you can really control that your units, because that could be an aspect of the game as well too, where it's like, hey, if there's a lot going on and you lose focus of your veteran unit and then they just get slaughtered, like it goes into like attention span and strategy and what's more important in the moment type of thing. And not just that, but choice as well too, as a player, of like, and that choice needs to have impact as well too, where okay, these things are less important because my squad here is like an elite squad in terms of veterancy, which means they get this type of abilities and they negate X amount of damage that gets fired their way and stuff. And so it's like, yeah, if I lose this veterancy squad and stuff, then I'm starting from scratch. Is that more important compared to what's going on, type of thing? And so, but and so that could be a good type of like healthy conflict. That could be bad in some areas and kind of feel bad moments as well too. But that could create some interesting decisions for the player as well too. So I think we do this automated part, but we kind of keep that in mind as we're going and balancing and stuff like that. So okay, so overlooking the battle. Cool. All right. Sweet. Where are we at for time here? Noon? All right. All right. What is with all this spam from Kick users? Maybe I'll just stop streaming on Kick, I think. Ugh. All right. Awesome. So I think that's good, but that's kind of the basis of Moscow format. We use this a lot in game development and specifically production side to help identify these things and run through these exercises, because you can see when I was talking about it that there were just lots of either conflicting ideas or things that butted head against each other, things that we need to figure out as well too, that just didn't make sense of, hey, when we actually thought it out and brought it into the exercise, that either it didn't make sense or we had to change it or we had to cut it, right? And that's literally what one of the reasons why this exercise is there, is to help kind of distill that and take that information, especially in early concept in game development, or concept in feature development as well too. Because like if we were in a live service here and we were like, there's a different lens here in terms of a live service we would do if this was just like a feature for Moscow format, because then we'd be like, hey, what's the player feedback? What is the data saying in like our analytics and behavior of the players as well too? And if it's like a monetization thing, like, okay, what sold, how many players were coming back, are we retaining players, how many players are actually using on this, clicks on these pages that affect this feature type of thing, like all those things like game companies track, depending on what the feature is and what's important to that feature for them to be able to make these decisions as well too. And so when you have that, you take that in the lens of your player base there as well too, and you try and make decisions on that with what is important, what needs to change. If you're updating a feature, if you're adding onto it, if it's a brand new feature, how does that fit in with the context of the other features as well too, to make sure you're not like alienating your game loop, your monetization, your player base, your game mechanics as well too, and you're adding on to that experience, right? And that just gets more and more complex the larger scope of game it is, right? Like Halo, like implementing one thing has drastic impact across the game usually, which is why it takes a long time to implement stuff like that with larger scope games. If your game is very smallly defined, small scope game, whatever and stuff, a lot easier to implement and make a lot of these changes. So especially if they're like independently working from each other, that also from a tech side causes complexities, because then you need to maintain that thing individually. But then if you make one change here, it won't affect this one thing over here. Sometimes you want that, sometimes you don't. It's all about identifying, if I make this one change here, is it going to update everything else and that's what we want? Or do we want to be able to control this individually, type of thing? So sometimes that's in the UI, sometimes that's in the tools, sometimes that's in the balancing. It can refer to a lot of different things. So anyway, yeah, so that's Moscow format. That's kind of how one of the exercises for MVP that we go through. There's a lot more that I could discuss with this, but that is it at a basic level. Next time, I think what we want to do next, I think what we want to do is define kind of more of the core loop here. I think I started it before. So we may have to change some of this too, based upon what we just went through in the Moscow format as well too, because like this may not be a part of MVP if we're saying that squad play is not like a must-have. Attack, defend. Yeah, because here we were thinking maybe in different lenses of like Helldivers and stuff too. And now we're trying to get back to our core base here of like, this is like a mix of Guns Up, World and Conflict type of thing. And what does that mean for our game, our core game loop as a part of that? So, and then we'll probably have to get into monetization stuff and what kind of the format might be for this game as we start to go through more of this core loop, because we'll have to define some of these things in order to make some of these decisions. Otherwise, it could just be like, well, we could go this way, we could go that way, we don't know, and stuff like that. And some of that may come in the prototype on what makes sense. Others, it may not matter. And or the third thing that could happen from that is it could have direct implication on what the core loop may look like as well too. And for me as a player, having a good core loop is kind of crucial to the stickiness of the game, especially if it's a live service. How do you get players to easily get in game with their friends, buy stuff if they want to, do their loadouts, whatever and stuff, and get into game and continue and trying to keep them in that game as easy as possible. Now, I'll tell you something right now. Battlefield 5 does a terrible job at this. It's good at so there's a couple things wrong with it. There's too many clicks for the player to get into in order to get into a game that they want. Too many multiplayer like hoppers, too many clicks to get through menus and stuff in order to get into a game or get in the queue to a game. It's really stupid that I have to exit the game's core loop in order to set assignments in order to get rewards for stuff I'm doing in the game. I have to get out of the core loop, go set those assignments on the main menu. I can't change those out in game, which really breaks out of the core loop and stuff of the game, right? Like, that's another thing. Third thing is I can't buy stuff while I'm like dead if I'm loading into my next mission, again, I have to go out of the core loop to buy stuff as part of the game. Can you do it on the end of round screen? I don't think so. Now, Helldivers does this really well, where you're being fired from your ship onto these, you land on these pods, right? And then when you extract and stuff, you're going back to the ship. They naturally, but in the ship, you're buying stuff, but you're still like in gameplay. So they do it pretty seamlessly to where like it makes sense. Diablo does this well because I go to a merchant in the gameplay loop, I go buy stuff or sell stuff, or I go back to town and do that if it's not a merchant like out in the world. I go back to town, I put stuff in my chest, I go right back out type of thing. It's not really in taking me out of the core gameplay loop. They built that in their core gameplay loop. And so like examples like that is where we want to kind of do this seamlessly. And so like I think what I'd want to do is if we were to have like base buildings here and we expand that with the different objectives we're doing, then I think we would want to I think we want to be able to go to one of those buildings or something like that where I can set my assignments, I can set my objectives, I can set my maybe my secondary objectives or my loadouts or buy stuff or whatever, and I can apply it right there. Now, there's probably a whole bunch of tech implications where an engineer coming into this would be like, Ian, you can't do that, that's impossible, and stuff like that. We can talk about that later. That's where like some technical restrictions or implementation comes into play and stuff. So that's why it's very critical, especially when we start talking about implementation strategy for these things, that that tech is involved in these conversations, because a lot of these, if you're saying, hey, I want this is the design, this is the flow and stuff, but technically this has never been done before, or we don't know if it can be done because it will have these effects and stuff. There's not just solutions for things. One is about understanding the cost of those solutions in terms of a technical understanding, how long it will take to implement, but not just that, understanding opportunity cost and trade-off. So if we're spending all this time trying to get this to where it wants to be and how it wants to be implemented, could we have instead taken a plan B approach to this, done something alternative that was a bit simpler, still solve like some of the core pillars of the game, where then we spend that time doing something else that's maybe more important for one of the other core pillars type of thing. So different things to kind of balance and discuss and navigate as well too, in terms of trying to figure out things like these, especially when it comes to like core loop and core architecture and infrastructure of the game, or any game as well too. So which is where I usually lean on my technical directors, gameplay engineers, engineering leads, stuff like that, in order to help weigh in and make those decisions, or help collaborate to make those decisions, and so that everyone on the team understands implications of those when we make those decisions, so that we can kind of go in with the best approach, and we agree on that as a leadership team, as a team in general, and we all understand the plan going forward. So a lot of engineers that I've worked with and stuff are good at articulating these things, not just good at coding, not just good at code reviews and stuff, but being able to communicate stuff like that to people that are not technically savvy as well too. So awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna get some lunch actually. I would like to stream again tonight, but realistically, with knowing how I am, I will not stream until Thursday, because that's when I have the day off. I have to work tonight, but yeah, I will be on sometime tomorrow, probably in the afternoon. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you appreciate my content. So I'm gonna be posting as well too some snippets of this as well too. I've been working with some like clip editing software. And my career coach is also wanting to see some me post some clips of some of my game dev stuff as well too. So I'm gonna post some of that, some of my highlights on my Twitch, probably on YouTube, and then gonna try and post that over to LinkedIn as well too. So yeah, next time we'll talk more about the gameplay loop, and we'll have some exercises we'll go through to help define that. I'll try and cover something aside from the Moscow format, so that we can kind of understand different exercises and ways to go about kind of solving some of these problems and coming to some decisions as well too. So other than that, have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye everyone.